On the Start to Play podcast, we have an honest and necessary conversations that you might not be having at your local Sunday morning service. I'm one of your hosts, Tech, along with
Fred Green.
And
Jay,
making his
we gotta announce you back.
Making his illustrious return
I'm gonna Google that.
from running out in the streets.
Yeah.
That's true, kind of.
Bishop Theodore, apostle to the many, Jay Blunt. What's
Jay
going on,
Blunt.
sir?
Yo, I am.
Oh my gosh. It's always a fail when you do
terribly
that.
perfect. Okay, thank you.
All
That
right.
was bad. I'm glad to be back.
You guys couldn't hear it. I tried to give Jason the button to congratulate his return. Oh, no. What's up, Jason? How was your time off?
Time off was great.
All right.
Good.
Yeah,
man.
much needed rest, much
Come on,
needed
somebody.
break, and it was good. Did some traveling with the wife. Spend some time with the wife.
Come on,
Hey.
It's
somebody.
important to reconnect.
Come on.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, as we married. I'll take this for a second.
Go ahead.
We married, right? It's easy to get caught up in work.
Come
It's
on.
easy to get caught up with the kids.
Come on.
We in that
And
season.
just trying to make it. And you can't forget that you can't forget your spouse.
Come on.
That's because one day the kid's gonna go.
Oh,
Oh man.
that's what I heard.
I'm an empty nester. We're empty nesters.
Bless.
So the kids are gone. And so much of your time revolves around children. Your cooking revolves around, like, you go from cooking for many to cooking just for
Preach.
two.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can't forget that.
You married.
Yeah, you can't forget you're married. It's important to keep that connection, that flame going, making sure that you guys reconnect.
Come on,
I've vowed to myself to take out my wife a couple times a month. I know it don't say. I know that might not sound a lot to
No,
a lot
No,
of people.
you
That's-
went to a whole
But-
nother state.
Yeah, you went to a
Well, that was no,
That's
not.
pretty illustrious.
I'm just talking about, like,
Shout out to Jason. That's like that.
love
dressed up, like dressing up a little bit and just taking a break and just relaxing. You know what I mean? So yeah,
Man.
so that's kind of what I'm
amazing.
trying to do.
Come on, shout out to Jason, rebuking all the trash husbands out here. Hey, Fred Green in the
You
building.
know who you are.
Who you are. All right, so we got a great episode. I mean,
what's up, y'all?
this will be. I mean, by now the Kurt Franklin. We're gonna talk about the Kurt Franklin documentary.
It's still fresh.
Your thoughts on it, and just your insights. Earlier last week, I kind of went live and talked a little about a little bit. But I'm, this is a perfect subject for the podcast. I'm curious, you guys' thoughts, because it was a doozy. I'm curious your thoughts on it in general, and then any insights that you got from it.
Are we doing both right now?
Well, we'll start with general thoughts.
Okay.
I will say,
Yeah.
I would just say this. I saw one dude say, I hear all y'all talking about this Kurt Franklin documentary.
Right.
He was just like, whatever, I'm going to just check it out. Because everybody's talking about how sad it made me cry. An hour later,
Yeah.
this bad boy was online. It's like, yo, I need to talk to somebody. He's like, hey, try to have connect groups, rethinking his life.
Oh my God.
Like, it was, I mean,
It was that traumatizing for him.
it was
or eye opening.
Yeah, eye opening. It has affected people deeply.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, I guess we'll get into how it did or did not affect us.
Every day, fam, every day. Fathers don't know they pops every day.
Okay, all right. So I guess we can get into it. Welcome back.
Every day.
We're
bringing
gonna
the balance.
defer. We're gonna
It's the
defer.
balance.
Okay, Jay, Fred, what were your thoughts on the documentary before we get to Jason? What were your thoughts on the documentary? Just what was your experience watching it? We're talking about the Kurt Franklin documentary.
My general thoughts.
Yeah.
First, I thought I enjoyed the documentary. I know it was like a heavy subject, but I thought it was, in my opinion, well done, production wise. I thought, I didn't know I didn't know too much about that. I kind of knew that he was had adopted, I think.
yeah.
But I didn't know the full background. So it was just interesting. It definitely, I did feel for him, Kirk Franklin. I thought that was sad. I think the biggest part, and this is going to be something small, but I was very taken back by his mother and his aunt. Like, I was very taken back with their reactions, and it just but
I did not have. She turned into Bill Clinton.
I was actually like taken back. Now, it did, like, it's crazy. Like, that wasn't something I haven't seen before, unfortunately, of how, brokenness in the family and the delusional and all that stuff like that. But I think that was, for me, that was the biggest thing that I just couldn't get past. I was just like, wow, like, even after all that, I was shocked. But I think overall, I enjoyed the documentary. I learned new stuff, and
Did you see, like, a lot of people saw parts of themselves or their family in it? Did you see that? Was there anything in the documentary that was triggering to you?
So there wasn't anything that was. So how can I say this? You caught me off guard with that question.
Oh, sorry.
I wasn't expecting that. So I'll say this. I'll say two things. There are some things, family, that I see things that was triggering, not directly to that situation. And I think that's the second thing I noticed, as far as like that I couldn't relate to him and to that specific issue, because I know my father. Like, my father has always been.
Ouch.
Well,
Dang,
don't try to don't do that. Don't try to turn it into something.
Every day,
Don't try. Don't try.
I thought we had to watch out for Jesus.
No. What I'm saying is like I couldn't relate to not having a father present in my life. So it
That's
was
a testimony.
Yeah, it is a testimony, and so it made me reflect of just like. What?
Oh, sorry. Squirrel.
Okay.
Remember, all right, Squirrel. This is a podcast.
Okay.
Remember when we lived in Crofton, right? And we would take Yodi and JoJo out for walking.
Oh my God.
Every time me and Fred would walk
Yeah.
over the parkway,
It was
like we were animals in the zoo. People
Yes.
were so
I
shocked
got that a lot too.
to see black fathers with their
it
kids.
was
just
annoying
wild.
after a while.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
just like, wow, you're walking. This is so good to see. And I'm like, what else I'm supposed to do? It's my son.
It was like, oh, a black dad. Take a picture.
It's crazy. There are two black fathers. But anyway. But nah, I think I think
You guys were
I
Look at that couple right there.
is that what they were thinking?
Probably.
What they
They're
thinking.
like, oh, this is a double win.
Progressive.
Hello.
We were in a different county. Okay.
Holding hands.
No, we were not. But
Podcast can't see it.
no, but no. I couldn't relate to that level, but it did make me reflect on how appreciative, even though I'm always appreciative of my father being very present in my life. It made me reflect on that even more. It's just like how, unfortunately, some people don't have that. So those were my just general thoughts overall.
All right, I'll go. We'll save
No, it's not
his feistiness for last.
His what?
His feistiness. I saw it probably like everybody else, where you just hear people talking about like how sad, or like making jokes about it, making him cry. And I saw the build up to it, and I think it kind of alluded to me that maybe that was the case, but I wasn't sure. But I know that I remember that he had just buried his dad not that long ago.
About that part, yeah.
So I just watched it out of curiosity,
Yeah.
and
Definitely some levels there.
and I just was not ready. I'm a sucker. I'm a thug. I'm a sucker. So it was just sad. And when he told the dad when he found his dad, and they were on the couch,
Yeah.
and he gave the results, and then they was both crying. The dad was like, I didn't know.
Yeah. Good moment. Good moment.
It was, and it was just wild. It was sad. It was sad. I appreciated his vulnerability. I was having a conversation on live, like, where some people were kind of like, well, why would he record this? But I mean, I get it. I think I would do something similar. I think it's just, and I think his transparency helped a lot of people. Like, at one
I
point,
agree with that.
it was a thing when people were just saying it was sad. Then it became a thing where people were like, I need to talk to somebody. Like, it was more than one person who was like pouring their heart out about their situations and how that had impacted them and caused them to think. Normally, when people kind of size that up, like, oh, if people are sad about something, they say it touched people. But really, it could have been the music, could have been the moment, could have been whatever. But this, it did touch some people. Some grown men were in their deepest of feelings. And it made me think about the importance of just dads and father's life. So that was my general kind of thing on it. Yeah. And then
So we just talking about general.
just general. We're going to general.
Because I don't know how.
Go, you go. I'm following you.
All right. Now, every day, bruh. It's like not. All right. So initially, my initial thoughts is that I thought that Kurt Franklin had a child out of wedlock. Like, I thought he was taking a paternity.
Oh, that's what you thought?
Initially.
No, I did. You talking about with that little promo thing he did? Yeah.
It was like Father's Day, never gonna be the same. I was like, oh snap! I'm not having a baby. That's my initial thought.
That would have been wild.
That's why I watched it.
I don't know everybody else watched it.
So I was on something else. Then I was like, oh.
Okay. Oh, you just don't got a day.
So So that's why that's what I initially thought. Honest, I'm just being real. I initially thought like there was some weird, situation with him in that regard. It was sad. It was all right. So, all right, was it sad? Yes, it was sad. But I think he was able to record or capture a reality that many people are go through, except a lot of times they don't get the end result of actually knowing.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there are a lot of fatherless children. And there's some children who know who their fathers are and are still fatherless. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm not sure which one is worse. Their fathers are needed regardless. But fathers are needed. I think it shows the importance of just being present and active as a father, which is why you got the reaction. We all three of us have gotten the reaction about being an active parent as a male. My daughter lived with me. It was like, you have custody? Yeah, it was like I'm like, yeah. How'd you do it? Why'd you do it? It was like, because it was, I guess,
sadly, it's rare.
It's rare and it's too common, but it's abnormal for fathers not to be there. And it's become, I don't say normal, but
is it though?
No, and when I say it's common, but abnormal, meaning this is not what it's supposed to be and look like. Just because something is becomes accepted societally does not make it normal. It's just common. That's what I mean by that.
I wonder, and I could be wrong, if it's just the picture that is just put out. Cause see, and I don't know, I could live in a bubble. Like all the dads I know are outstanding men.
Well, all right, good. Great segue for that, for my next point. All right, I'm about to give you this is true. And this is why I had the reaction I had. And why I watched it and I was like, oh, okay, good for him. And it wasn't so quote unquote sad. It was just, like I watched it. All right, so let's start from the top.
Okay.
My father just found out who his father was like right before COVID. Maybe a couple years before COVID.
Wow.
Right? He lived with a woman who he thought was his aunt. The aunt, her son was actually his father. That he didn't even know was his dad.
Wow.
Took him out a couple of times, but he just thought it was her cousin. He lived across the street from his brothers and sisters and his mom.
Crazy.
Right? And my grandmother, who's about to celebrate a birthday in her 80s, denies the dad. My dad's real father, his name is Billy. My dad's name is Willie. I don't know how they couldn't put the two and two together, but they didn't. And he didn't spend a lot of time. He really spent time with Billy's mom, who I knew as Aunt Sadie, who was really my grandmother? Yeah, my grandmother.
That's wild.
Oh, is it my grandmother?
Yeah.
That would be my great
She
grandmother.
was your dad's mother?
Yeah, my dad's mother. Yeah. So that would be my. So when my dad found his father, he found out through his sister, who did a DNA test, and they wound up putting two and two together. My dad and him look alike. Before they can get to talk, he had like dementia or something. So he wasn't able to like really have that one-on-one. It was kind of like he just found out about it. And they met once. He knew exactly who my dad was. He knew exactly what the connection was. But his side doesn't know it. So this is like within the last 10 years for me.
Yeah.
Right? So I had a grandfather who wasn't really my grandfather. My grandmother, she just had a wild life. I think her first kid was at like 12, 13 years old. She might have had 3 kids before 20, 3 or 4 kids before 20. So it was just a lot going on back then. My wife just found out who her father was a couple years ago.
Wow.
Her mom didn't know. She actually went out and took paternity tests with a couple guys who her mom thought might have been the one. Guy was like, yeah, I hope I'm your dad, blah, blah, blah. Negative. Come to find out it was some old dude, and, I think he was living in Connecticut or something. And she just found out recently. Wow. But I saw the struggle for her to find out who her father was. It was like she didn't want to know, like she didn't care, but then something in her pushed her to want to know. All right? Yeah. My stepson, the youngest one, he longed for a long time to have a relationship with his dad. Knew who he was, but his father just was not present. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I've seen that. My daughter's mom, she was adopted, given away at basically birth, and longed to know who her parents were. No idea. So I've been around this situation forever. For literally, from my dad and all of these other people a long time. So when I saw it, it was just like, okay. Like I was joking around, but I was like, yeah, it's every day. I mean, it's so many people out here who are living this out who just don't get the other side of that, who might die and do often die wondering, what if, what's the lineage, what's the health? Like, there's so many questions. More importantly, I don't say more importantly, but more often than not, they want to know why.
Yeah.
And especially when they have other children later on, like, why not me? Why wasn't I accepted? Why would I not? There's a lot of internal dialogue that goes along with that sense and feeling of abandonment. And so this is why I had my reaction like I had. And it was cool. It was great. I thought it was great. It was well written. Some of it was the theatrical and dramatic, So I was just watching like, okay, cool. Cool. That's I'm telling you, that's how I was rocking with it.
I mean, yeah, I get it, but okay.
I know I said a lot, but I gave you
I get it.
4
I
or
get
5
it. So
examples.
You're like, I done seen this in so many different ways.
It was just like good for him. I was happy for him. Like, good for him.
Yeah, but I this is dramatic, but I think that it's not healthy in general. Not necessarily you, but you in general too. It's not healthy that like we get used to this. I don't know if dysfunction is a strong word, but like even when we talk about the part, like the fact that you being there for your daughter, it's like people showing up should not be the thing that is unusual, the thing that is unusual, and then people not being there, the thing that is
Yeah, for sure.
usual.
For sure.
I know a lot of people felt like it was dramatic. Not dramatic, but like the fact that they had a camera crew there. And like, I mean, I don't know. For me personally, I mean, working on video stuff, like, it's the editor's job. Like, I think because it's Kurt Franklin's documentary, people feel like Kurt Franklin is telling the story.
Okay.
Kurt Franklin's not telling the story. The editor and the director is telling the story.
Yeah, I have no problem with it.
Not you, but this is a general.
Okay,
I've heard
something
that
that's going
perspective a
around.
lot. Yeah, where it's like, this is dramatic. But I mean, I think it's like, of course, Kurt Franklin produced it, so he has input and say. But like, the editor is really the one
who's cutting it to tell the
who
story.
cuts all the unnecessary, like, that would be a whole nother thing. But even like these reality, it's the same thing they do with the reality shows. They cut it to elicit emotion. And so I think, again, because that's Kurt Franklin's name, sometimes that gets translated onto Kurt. And I think in this case it was helpful that they cut it to elicit emotion, because I think that emotion really dug up some deep things. I mean, there's a perspective on God that the documentary made me think about. But even what you were saying in just general conversations, it made me think about like the conversation about like fathers, like the importance of fathers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Here's the question I want to know.
Go for it.
Okay.
Now you guys, people joke around this about this a lot. What is the balance of, like, it seems like sometimes these negative things are part of what helped him become him.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
like,
then the
thing that built.
like the thing that pushed him. Like, there's this phrase, I don't really agree with it, but I can see how people have this sentiment. It's something like hard times make hard men, and then hard men make
hard times, or something like that.
Yeah, make soft.
Strong men make soft something.
Yeah. Easy times make
Yeah, so
soft
we
men.
jacked it up.
We
But
killed
it's
it.
like
I like that
hard
saying. though.
times make hard men.
It's a cycle.
And then they make easy times, and they make easy kids, and the easy kids make hard times. I murdered that.
Yeah.
But the point being, like,
Scrambled eggs, soft yolks.
yeah, I don't know. But the point being, like, it seems like sometimes the hurt pushes people.
Yeah.
And then you, as a parent, you're like, man, I don't want my kids to have to go through these things. But then I wonder, like, not that you should be, but you put so much comfort and cushions around your kids. That it's like they missing the calluses.
Yeah.
And it's just
Gluten allergies.
it's gluten allergies. So it's like trying to develop the balance.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I understand that.
Yeah. That's what I'm struggling with now. Like I got two teenagers, one about to turn 18, another one on her way to 20. Then I got younger kids in 9 and 11. I think trying to find that balance because I think the society we live in, to me, from my perspective, is leaned towards coddling to the point of like avoiding, like allowing a child to fail, allowing the child to bump their head, and so I gotta kind of come behind and just be like, nah, you don't be scared, like, or don't be afraid, or this is gonna be hard. Hey, get over it. Like this is had. So it is it's hard for me. I'm learning what that balance, and I don't quite have it yet, but I do believe that there are some things that not everything have to be experienced as far as hardships. Like I think there are some things, but I think some things, you just gotta, know, like, hey, it's okay. Like you need to go through this, so this is gonna help you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like my kids, they grow up with parents that I keep referencing all these little things I see on the internet, but there was another thing that was like, you are the type of parent that you wish you had. And I know for me, I think my parents did a great job, but I know, in particularly my dad, I know he was really, I don't know if the right word is busy, but he was intent, kind of like trying to work toward his dream and what it was that he wanted to accomplish. So in retrospect, I do remember feeling like I had to figure out a lot on my own, particularly being the youngest, where I felt like I did not have anyone to advocate for me. And so that has made me very much adamant about doing that for my kids.
Advocating for your children.
Advocating for my kids. While also keeping them accountable, but also letting them know that they have an advocate. Like, I'll pull up for them. But part of, and I'm always very expressive about how proud I am of them and how I love them. And those things are good.
Yeah.
But when they go out into the world, you know what I mean? Definitely as they get older,
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes that expectation is that they will get that outside, and they don't get that, and they're not ready for that. So it's like trying to figure out, I'm not going to traumatize you to equip you, but how do you like? Because I mean, the documentary and the reception of it, fathers play a huge. I mean, mothers do too, of course, but like fathers play a huge role.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, she played the biggest role. The mom did. And
You talk about specifically to the documentary?
yeah.
Okay.
She played the biggest role, in my opinion. And I know I'm gonna say the father didn't really get. I mean, the father didn't know.
He didn't know. He didn't get a
Supposedly,
chance. Yeah.
there was a good point he made. He's like, this town is small, and nobody knew nothing. How'd the baby get dropped? How'd the baby get left out? And that was a good point. I think that was like, that was tough. Like, this town, everybody know everybody. It wasn't weird that she was pregnant. No one asked who the dad was. She just went. You know what I mean? Like, that was a weird. That was a point for me. That was a good point to
Good
me.
job, Tech.
Thank you.
Good job. I already knew where he was about to go.
I don't know, but that was a good point. I mean, I understood that question, but I think she dropped the ball, in that she didn't deny anything other than the test was wrong. She didn't say I didn't sleep with the guy. She just said
I was shocked
she's not the
how
dad.
adamant she kept it.
She was like, I know what the science says, but hey, yo, daddy. Yeah, so who is? I don't know. It was just interesting.
But I think that part kind of made me, it kind of made me sad. Just like, you could clearly see the dysfunction.
No.
Because immediately I think
From the beginning,
like when he called his aunt, like he addressed
like,
it,
who?
and she immediately was like, "We're not going to carry this conversation."
Okay, question on that though.
Right.
Okay.
I wonder if she was joking. Because
Nah, I don't think
imagine,
so.
no,
she
but
wasn't
like,
joking.
she didn't seem like that later. She seemed more.
Nah, she was a
Imagine
little
if there was a
stunned.
documentary.
She
Let's
was a
say you
bit
were doing a
stunned.
documentary, right?
Right.
And then you called me on
Yeah.
speakerphone.
Yeah.
I would be in jail.
No, it's I
What you mean?
I'm just saying, like, it's this.
Oh, yeah.
Who knows what I was saying?
No. That's a whole different problem.
I think his reaction to me came off of like I call you this, and you know why I call you by your first name, and you could tell that's been a thing with them, and
but I don't think she knew she was on camera at that moment.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I think she.
Because it was over the phone. It was over speakerphone.
But I guess what I'm saying is, like, when she came in person, like, she was still, the cameras were there, and it's Kirk Franklin. I'm pretty sure. To me, that came off as something that's a deep rooted. You could tell, like, there's something. Even when he got there, she was like, come in the house. He was just like, nah, I'd rather wait till she get here.
Yeah.
Like, you could tell that there's some clear, in my opinion, like, something. And to me, as it played out,
Which I think reiterates the point that I think because that happened at the house, I believe what occurred even more at the beginning with that, how you address me.
Yeah, I wonder, like,
I see.
people who have like strong personalities, but they love you, and they'll be like, they don't take no mess, or they have like, maybe, but I kind of feel bad for her. I don't know her, but I feel like I can see how she can get because later, even when his mother was still denying it,
Yeah, she's like,
she was
just tell him the
you know,
truth.
I don't know, but most people do have that sentiment that's often the thing that comes up, like
Disrespect.
that she was wild. But I mean, probably.
Yeah.
I was curious, was there any insight or anything that made you guys think? It made me. There were some things about God that this made me think about, but was there anything that stood out to you guys, or anything that got you guys thinking about from the documentary? Jason was just like, listen, next.
I kind of already
skip ad.
I kind of already mentioned it, like my appreciation for my father. I really started reflecting on that, and then it made me also, really reflect on myself being a father, and just how, like you said, how the vital role that we do play in our children's life. Because I know sometimes, I'm aware I'm their father. I'm aware I'm a husband. I'm aware I'm a father. But then, like, you living with yourself, like you just trying to do life, and sometimes, I try to be, I try to make sure I'm intentional, to know that, because, like, I'm not just living my life like I got kids, like I got to make sure that I am taking that time to spend time with them. I am taking that time to teach them something. I am taking that time to spend quality time with them. Like, it just being very intentional, because whether you're good or like a good parent or a bad parent, like, you're going to have an effect on your kids. That's going to it's going to bleed into how they parent.
Yeah.
And so I try to make sure that I'm very intentional and being more aware. And I think that's one of the things that the documentary kind of like illuminated for me. It was just like, you know what? Yeah, I'm like just being grateful for my experience. And then also, being more intentional with my family.
Yeah. Shout out to your dad, bro, because it's actually pretty encouraging, because you have a great relationship with your dad.
Amazing. That's my hero.
And going back to the thing about like raising, trying to find the balance of being in your child's life but still making sure that they're equipped. I think you're a great example of that.
Yeah,
Appreciate
sure.
it.
Yeah, just so,
If I had you as my son, I'd definitely I'll be proud of you. I love you, son. Sorry. You're an outstanding man.
Like, but you two are you guys are
not
too.
friends deflected, but no, I mean, you did a great job.
I appreciate it. Appreciate
No, this for your dad. Freak you. I'll tell your dad.
My father. Yeah, my father. Amazing father. I thank God for him. Thank God for my father.
Real quick. You had a question earlier about becoming. You become the parent that you thought that you wish you had, almost. That's what you said. And that sparked the thought with me. Like, I like just had this thought for the first time ever. As a result of that statement. And it's not directly this thing. I don't know why I like framed that so hard around there, but boss. I realized that I had I realized that I had I realized that I had no. Just I realized that like we talking about raising the kids and how we raise them. So I realized that because I had my daughter so young, that like that moment like stuck with me.
Wow.
Like that the what's it called? The aftermath. Like telling my parents that I was gonna have a baby. That aftermath was unbelievable. Like that stuck. I can recall that moment that I revealed that to my parents. Like that letdown, that disappointment was like it. I don't think it will ever leave me. And I think that I felt so irresponsible. Like I think, and now I'm thinking like, as a parent, how did I parent as a result of my past? And I think that like my goal probably was to raise a responsible child as a result of my irresponsibility. Like, you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, why do we parent the way we do? And like, what are we, like, that becoming? Like, I think my both my parents are amazing. Great dad. A lot of what I do and how I did things with my kids were influenced by how he raised me. But that responsibility. I'm just thinking back now, like, what was the goal of my parenting? Was it just that, like, we have, like, I don't think we think that we have goals. I just think we just, like, raise our kids to try to be the best we can. But then, like, I'm looking back on it now, and it's like, I think I just wanted to make sure she was responsible.
It's crazy.
And responsibility comes in various, aspects.
Yeah.
Responsibility with your money, responsibility with your friendships, responsibility with your relationships. Like, because I don't want you to repeat what we talked about, falling in the same pitfalls that we fell into, like not repeating those, and not necessarily buffering those,
Yeah.
but just like, I think, like, because of where we walked and where we fell, we parent cautiously around those areas.
Yeah, because
Go
I
for it.
think when you're raising a
good, Jason.
kid, you're subconsciously trying to raise a better version of yourself.
Sure.
That's what it is. Yep.
So you're like, you see, I mean, because there's so much a reflection of you. So you see your mistakes,
Yeah.
and you're trying to equip them with the things that you felt like that you did not have. And yeah, I mean, raising kids is it's a tricky process. I always think about this cycle. I don't know why. It's just fascinating because, like, my dad was a way better dad to me than he had, and his dad did not. I mean, his dad wasn't even present.
Yeah.
And so,
Same.
my dad could not reflect on his experiences to raise me. He just had to
Yeah.
figure it out.
Well, sometimes I think that people, again, perspective plays a big point in some of this, and this is something I had to share with a few people at one point, because we talked about, I think this is goes into what you mentioned before about the hard times building better men or better versions, and is that, like, not sometimes, having a bad experience can be the best example of what not to do. You just do the total opposite of that, and you got a totally bad. But a lot of times we focus on what we don't have. We don't realize we got the best example of what not to do, or people have the best example of what not to do. Yeah. So it's true. My dad too did not have his biological father. He had his sister's dad trying to play a dad role, or other men that grandma brought through, try to to play that role. But sometimes those examples, when you want to do better, it's like, you know what? When I get mine, you could do it. You see it with people who take care of their clothes bad, their shoes be jacked up, or their car be jacked up. When I get my car, I'm not gonna do it. When I get my shoes, I'm gonna keep them clean. You see people do this with a lot of things. Yeah. So one other aspect from the movie is, and I've seen it in other places before, is that I think is where, and I have conflicting ideas on it, and that's like, people saying, particularly Christians, when they say, like, or have this idea, like, because of you, I'm this way. Like, you're the reason I have these things, or I deal with these things. And I know that they could play a role, but, like, we still got God. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I feel like a lot of times, like, it's like I don't say anti, but it's like, a lot of times they throw that away. Throw the relationship, or the bad things that occurred, overpower the other things. I have this conflicting thing in my head with trying to see that what God is, who he can be, and who he has been to the people who have struggled. And then their constant grabbing at this alternate identity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the declaration of a different identity versus declaring the other thing. Like where are we gonna be at? Can I be? Go ahead. I'm trying to frame the idea.
I do get that, but I think in order to realize that, you have to have a certain level of a healthy framework to realize that you don't need this other identity. You have what God says about you. And I think even to notice that, or even to think about that, you have to at least have a certain level of a healthy framework. And I think there's some people who, because of their experiences,
I don't see them professing the opposite side so much as they profess the negative side.
right, you don't see them professing their identity in Christ as much as you see them they're professing their.
Yeah.
But I think you would have to have a healthy framework to even notice that you're not doing that, to even notice that you're
So you're saying that more likely than not, they have a negative frame.
yeah, and then and because of their experiences, that makes them so dependent upon this person that it takes an outside source from another person, somebody to say, hey, you actually don't need that as much as you think you do. But I don't think they in themselves, because of their experiences, God can do anything, of course, will come to that conclusion without discovering it. What was that?
It's like one of those. It's like a cliche saying. It's like, can you even repeat the last thing you said again?
Absolutely not.
I don't think so.
It
It was like the God can do anything part.
I mean, but no, he can. Like, I'm just saying God can do anything in terms of, like, he can bring a person without an outside person to the conclusion that they need him and they don't need this other identity. But I'm saying typically it's almost like preaching the gospel. Somebody has to be educated that they don't need to hold on to this. But then partly I think you do. I think that's how God made you.
And then, what part? How? What
that
part?
you need, it's like,
You need other people or a community
that you
to
do.
help them. Yeah, sure.
And without
That's
that,
possible.
you are missing something. Now, it's like, what's the guy? This is such a bad example, but the guy with no arms and legs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
He go around motivation.
I don't want to say what I think his name is, but yes.
But
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, he's out in the water swimming. He's hopping up steps.
You can live I'm about to say a whole. You can live a full, healthy life with no arms and no legs because you got
motivational
Jesus.
speaker.
Yeah,
he's killing it.
But should that be the standard? Like,
Maybe.
Okay, but I'm saying if someone's, I can get if someone is, traumatized or struggling with that, and I think
sure.
So but, I think that same way when it comes to fathers in different relationships, we're expecting people to live like this dude does with no arms and no legs.
Yeah,
and that's what makes it exceptional.
But what is God's perspective on that? Like, what does he? Because so I'm reading through 1 Samuel. I think right now. I think did I read? Did I start in Kings? I think I started in Samuel recently. So I was in Samuel, right? And so, Samuel then Saul, right? That's like the progressive. Samuel, Saul, then you get to David, right? And so it's interesting to see how God is with these individuals, right? And he's with them in a way that we don't often see today. Like he's speaking to them it's I think this is amazing, by the way. These guys had such an amazing relationship with God. They would inquire or ask God a thing, right? And if God didn't respond, they'd be like, I wonder what's going on. I need to go back and ask him again because I didn't hear an answer from him. They had God talks to me, I ask him a question, he you know what I mean? Yeah. So that, I think the relationship, the connection is amazing. And then you see when they somewhere down the line, they run into trouble where they get this detachment, and then they mess up. You know, like why? What happened? David did it too. I'm not there yet, but David messed up too.
Yeah.
You know, a few times he got scared. Like you see the beginning where he has this like really arrogance about God and the King of Israel and defiance to the Philistines. He's like, yo, who is this dude?
Yeah.
Who hasn't even been circumcised? Who's this cat, fam? Like, who's this? You know, like he's got this arrogance about him, like this righteous arrogance of like he's nobody. And you go from that. How do we get from that identity? Like that's identity right there. I think that's a type of identity. Like you're so strong in your identity, and then life just lifes like it's been lifing everybody else, right? And then you go from that to running and hiding, and you know, you see what I'm saying? So like I'm that's like where I'm getting like how do we stray? How do we have those type of connections with God? Like boom, those type of things, and then we go and we kind of like forget like. So that's what I mean, like identity, like, and these are like not just like I don't say everyday Christians, but these are like celebrities a lot of times who struggle with their identity.
Yeah.
And they're the same ones who are preaching about identity or singing about identity. And then not to say that, I mean, we're human, we see it all the time. We've seen it from the beginning all the way till, you know, dang near the end. Yeah.
I think just to tie into what you saying, it's an interesting thing I thought about David and but that's something else. But I think that's one of our for not just fathers, I'm not going to just but we're talking about fathers, but for both parents. But since we're talking about fathers, it's important for us to model our relationship with God in front of our kids. And I think that's something that I'm trying to also grow to, and not just model like the positive, but model my struggles. Be honest of just like, you know, I'm waiting, you know, I'm praying about this and I'm struggling with this. I try to, you know, for their age, you know, like try to be honest, because I think that's also important to where when they get older, or even where they are now, you know, they're going to have questions, or they're going to have moments of feeling like that, and for it to not to be such a thing like, oh, I'm a bad Christian, or this is, oh no, my dad talked about this and I'm watching him navigate through this. So I just think, you know, I just wanted to throw that out there. It's not directly talking to what you're saying, but speaking about the importance of fathers, I think that is a very important thing. Is just to also just model living, you know, model your relationship with God like in front of your kids.
But see, I guess that's the thing too. If you don't have someone to help you establish that framework,
Sure.
it's hard to even notice.
Yeah.
Because I think that's one of the things that even as Christians that we've done is we've put preaching over discipleship. So it's like really discipleship is walking somebody through that process, walking somebody through ups and downs. Even thinking about Samuel and what's the man before Samuel? Esau was like, is it Esau?
Esau.
Not Esau.
Esau.
Eli.
Eli. Is it Eli? The prophet before Samuel? Sorry.
Might be. I think so, yeah.
He walked, you know, Samuel had this gift. God was talking to him, but he stayed with him and he had to walk him through. So I think what
that's true.
sometimes happens as believers is we have substituted or over, I don't know if substitute is the right word, but we definitely emphasize preaching something more than discipleship and walking someone through it. And I think like if you have a someone who doesn't have a father, and just with as many churches as there are in the world, it's still being hit or miss.
Yeah.
Whether or not you can find one that will really care for you, really disciple you. I can see how, even though they should I can see how it can be difficult for them to be aware that they may be seeking the right thing because they need somebody to show them and walk them through it.
So men need other men.
For sure.
Other men, like, just period.
Yeah.
They don't even got to be your father. You just need another male mentor.
Yeah, the thing that is slightly convicting to me now, right this second, is like, also, I mean, I think sometimes we do need to get into other men's lives who don't have father figures.
You know, it's funny that you said. I was just thinking that to myself. Like, it was convicting me too. Yeah.
Because I'd be so thinking about my own kids, which is cool.
Your kids got friends though, right?
Yeah, and I think about it. I'll tell you offline why that's funny. But thinking about just getting into other kids' lives who may not have the support structure that my kids have. I did want to mention this last thing if it was anything else.
All right. Yeah, I just peeked up. Time.
Work Jason is not Work Jason's like the aunt. Jason,
Like what?
The aunt, like Kurt Franklin's aunt. No games.
Like, all right,
You got another topic.
Who you calling? Jason who? I did find this fascinating. Talked about it a little bit before, but just like for me, the God aspect of it.
The God aspect.
Where it's like, for me, this is just like such a reminder of God's sovereignty. Here, you have two things. One, you have this boy who is adopted, who, for lack of a better phrase, to be hyperbolic, that nobody wants. His mother is not. His mother, he's seeing his mother, but his mother's not taking him. He's not getting adopted by families. And then, you know, we look at him now and we say it's Kurt Franklin. But at the time, he didn't even know what music was. He was just a little boy. And then God, in his sovereignty, says, this little boy who nobody wants, I'm going to make him the greatest gospel singer
David.
ever. Just like David. I mean, the perception is people say that, you know, David was, I think that's, because,
I was just about, but go ahead.
No, David is a good point. I think, like, it's just like, he just did that.
Yeah.
He just did it. He just why? Why'd you pick? Because he wanted to.
Sure, yeah.
And it's like,
that's true.
That is so amazing. But then it's like this little boy wanted. Now, God, I'm gonna use some strong language. Please don't strike me down. If God strikes me down, you guys just close the podcast. But almost feels like God prevented him from getting what he wanted the most. Like, I don't know, this new dude could be a jerk. But he seemed like a good dad.
He seems like
a good guy.
A good guy.
Good guy.
Seem like a
dude.
He seemed like a good guy who possibly could have been a good dad, who could have been what he wanted the whole time. And the fact that this person was so close to him the whole time.
And by location, physically.
By location, physically.
I just want to make sure everyone knows.
And God never brought that together until now. To me, it's almost like, but it was in his brokenness that Kurt did the stuff that he did. All of it is just like, to me, God's sovereignty.
I'm sorry, I just popped. Yeah, beautiful point. It's true, God's sovereignty. God's sovereignty. It's true. I know, I don't want to say nothing good. I don't want to say nothing good. I gotta say it though. I gotta say it.
Okay.
Y'all don't hold me accountable. They don't hold me accountable. So
Okay. Go ahead.
Kirk Franklin's dad at a funeral leaned over to somebody. It's like, I used to mess with that. That's kind of wild, though.
But we don't know how that's
what he said.
But that's like the summary version.
Yeah, but that's just wild to say at a funeral. We just slicing this dude up. He's like, me and Sheila used to.
Okay, all right. I'm not.
Wait in the wall.
Okay.
No, where'd that come from?
I don't know.
No, I'm just saying.
No,
God's sovereignty.
God's sovereignty. God's sovereignty.
I got these. I call them earworms, where you just keep hearing something until you get it out.
All right.
I'm back.
It's like you I can see how Kurt could be upset. I can't say
definitely.
how he can be upset. I can see how he can feel a certain type of way. It's like God. But then when I look at this, to me, it's just God. Because God chose him when nobody wanted him. He, in my opinion, I could be wrong, God kept him
Is
from
that enough?
What's that?
Like, I love what you're saying.
But you're saying if he doesn't realize it?
No, I'm saying, is God enough? It's almost like
No, he's not.
he's not enough.
I don't think he's supposed to be. I
right.
don't think, I don't think.
It's the strike you was waiting for.
Well, no, I don't think. I think about when Adam was created. God told Adam. God said that Adam was alone. It was just Adam and God.
But he wasn't. He wasn't alone. I mean,
but God said he was alone.
No. He wasn't. He gave him someone
like him.
like him. Right. So what I'm saying is that he wasn't alone. He had someone who adopted him, who took care of him.
Who?
Kirk Franklin.
Who adopted him?
He was adopted by an old lady.
Yeah.
It was some lady that's like 60 years old adopted him, took care of him, took him in. Now, it wasn't what he wanted, but like you said, like, of course, at some point or another, like as you're growing your relationship with God, he probably went through some crazy times. I know I've heard his testimony, part of his testimony, how it was just wild. He was in church, but he was still wild. But at what point can God be, not to say that you don't desire, like it would be nice if, or it'd be cool if, or I wonder what if, but like, is he enough?
I don't know. I think we do. I think we do. God is very vital. I think we do downplay though sometimes how much God. The importance that God puts in humanity relating to each other, and the importance of humanity, like that's something that he, as much as the attention that he put into creation of the world and everything, the same attention that he put into creating humanity, to where he looked at Adam, like you said, and says, "This is not good. This is not good that you're alone." And then therefore came Eve. And a lot of God's disappointment, and even to the point of judgment, came from how people mistreated other people. How the widows, the fatherless, like the poor, like it's almost like God just like, yes, I'm here for you, and I am a big part of it. But there is also a responsibility that I'm giving you to your fellow man. Like there's like you guys are supposed to do this, and I think Jesus even fully brought that to full combination when he kind of preached certain things, where he says, "Look, this is how people are going to know that you." I always say this, Christian, one of my favorites. It's your love for one another. And I don't call you no more. Do I call you like servants? I call you friend. Like this thing of like togetherness, and it's sad is that because of sin, and because of I'm not trying to use a big word, but because of our imperfections, we
imperfections?
Bruh.
No, that wasn't the same. Because of our depravity.
Now.
I was going to say,
hear me out.
I was going to say depravity. I was going to say depravity.
Depravity.
But no, I think we do downplay that. What God said is like, you know what, this is not
can't
good.
Be serious on this podcast with that man pulling out his heart.
No.
I know. I just thought about how terrible we are.
Sorry,
depravity. We got you.
I'm used to this. Look, this is what I'm used to on and off camera. But I think we do downplay that part.
I agree.
It's true.
Fred can't never get a thought.
I can't finish.
Nah,
I can't
want
finish.
you to finish.
I can't finish.
No, No, you're right.
I can't.
The importance of
The
family,
importance
structure, community, all
community,
of that.
family. I think we do downplay that part.
No,
I just had to add on to it. No, I agree 100%. I agree 100%. No, it's all important, and it plays a vital role.
No,
And
dog.
I
Don't
agree.
give me no sympathy cosign.
No,
okay?
I agree. You added. This show is about perspective. There are
Come
three
on.
different
on, somebody.
perspectives here, and they come together to
Yeah.
No, it's because I disregarded that my thought initially disregarded the, like you said, the structure, the family structure, the and yeah, all of it. And part of that I think is God-given human nature that desires to be a part of something. Something in us pulls or like draws us to another individual or another thing or another group. You see it oftentimes where you say low income communities and gangs. We see men who join gangs who are often children to fatherless households who go to a different version of family where other men, there's not even a women, but other men are involved to get that fatherly, brotherly community. So it's there. We see it a lot.
Yeah.
We see it a lot. So great point. And I apologize. I apologize.
No. Don't make it.
I apologize.
We receive
But
your
you be saying
apology.
some-
I really don't care. I really don't.
I care.
We receive your apology.
I care. It
That's so
doesn't. I mean, you do be saying some weird stuff, but I apologize.
I be saying weird stuff. You said I be saying weird.
Disrupt the Right Podcast. We're having honest and necessary conversations that you might not be having in your local Sunday morning service. Anything else before we close?
Yo, Kirk Franklin found his pops, bro. That's good. It's amazing. Hey, I encourage you to watch it. It's good. I want
It's a
to
good
know.
documentary.
I want to know what you guys think of it, hear about it, feel about it.
All right.
Yeah.
Podcast is over.
Are do you what's it called? You connect with it?
Okay.
You connect with it?
I think a lot of people did.
I'm talking to the people. I'm not talking to you.
Okay, I'm sorry. All right, anything else? All right, next week, maybe next week we might be talking about.
I don't know. I don't know if you want to put it out there, but next week has the potential
soon.
to be.
Soon we're going to be talking about sororities. We wanted to talk about sororities and like Christians being part of sororities. I don't know anything about it because I went to PG and I went to PG for a quarter. I didn't even go for a semester. I don't even know how long a semester is. A semester, a quarter? That's how short I went. I don't know the difference. So I wasn't part of fraternity. I wouldn't even get the chance. So, but it seems like something that comes up every so often where it's like Christians should not be part of a sorority. And so people tend to take that very personally. Woo. Sorority is another, like a gang.
Yeah, sure. It's
joke.
another version of family,
Another version of
affiliation,
family. Come on.
belonging.
Come on.
It's another version of that people who want to have that type of connection.
Yeah.
They strive for. So it's another
Particularly
version
in
of
the
that.
black, you like to distinguish communities.
They have it all over.
Yeah, I'm about to say.
Nah. The D9. I just found out about the D9.
That's just a particular
you ain't know about
group.
the D9.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
about
so
that.
yeah, but they're all over, man. They're all over.
All right, so we might be talking about that next week. We'll be talking about that soon. But I like to say we wanted to try to get someone who's a part of that community
Yeah.
to.
I'd like to see if I could
talk
find
about that.
one who's in and one who used to be in.
I was thinking about that, but then I
let's
just
go.
feel like it'd be so personal. I ain't trying to have no dirty
Let's go.
Got to have the bleep button ready. All right.
Oh.
All right, but then, without any further ado,
For me.
peace and blessings. We love you guys. Glad to be back. Got a lot of great things coming. Without any further ado, we are out.